Hello everyone, I hope you are all hearing me. This is a bit awkward. My camera is there, but my laptop is there. But anyways, it's good to see you. Thank you for inviting me, all the bitbird community. My name is Soyun and I'm from South Korea and I am based in the Netherlands. I hope everyone is here and hearing me as well. Let's wait a few more seconds and then we can start. Hello. I'm looking at the chat here on my phone. Let's see how good I can do for multitasking. I have 3 screens going on. So, today's agenda. First, I will introduce myself, who I am, and what I make. And then the main subject, which is node-based software, which is called TouchDesigner. And I can imagine some of you are not familiar with the term node-based software, so I will explain a little bit there. And then I will give an introduction to TouchDesigner. Be aware, I think this workshop will be really basic because I want to just let you know that this is also possible because I'm a visual artist myself and I don't do programming that often. I can do a little bit of JavaScript and here and there, but programming skill is very limited. But with TouchDesigner, I really grew a lot. I programmed my own system, so I wanted to introduce you how it can be used. So hopefully for some of you, maybe it's too easy, but I will show you my sketch and I will walk you through it. It's not that I will explain every single details, but yeah, I will just give you basic introduction. So that's our agenda for today. Oh, here. Yeah, so like I said, my name is Soyun and I'm from South Korea. And I moved to the Netherlands around 5 years ago. And here I'm working as a multidisciplinary artist who does a lot of visuals with music and performances and stage design and yeah, so on. So there are a lot of different things that I do. When people ask me, what do I do? Then I don't know what to say. I just say I make things. But I graduated from graphic design department at Royal Academy of Art in The Hague, and before I did fine arts. In general, I'm interested in how technology is functioning in the human society and in how the relationship is between technology and humans. So from a very personal level, like how our body movement changes, how our relationship changes because of technology, or also at a societal level, which can be like how the politics change, how the policies are made, and how the architecture and community work. So these subjects are often portrayed in my work, which are completely different varieties of materials every time. So I will show you some of them. So this is a video of AR project that I did with City of Vienna. So they commissioned me to create some sort of AR situation in the city of Vienna. So then audiences can just walk around and then look at with their cell phones and they can see what's actually hidden inside. So this was made in Unity, and then also we worked closely with a Unity developer. So and then also 3D artist. This is one of my recent work. Ooh, yeah. Well, it's one of my recent work called Wunderkammer 10.0. This was 3 channels installation with 30 minutes of film, written in Korean, but also translated in English. And it is talking about artificial intelligence and how it is living in society with the science fiction. So that was one of the work that I did also. This I hope you hear it okay. Yeah, this was a music video that I created for my friend Princess Kano, and it's very odd. And this was very made in TouchDesigner as well. It was released with Fact magazine. Sorry, it's too intense. I can go with the next. You. Not too loud. So this was also one of the performances that I created with my team. The composer made the sound, and then I asked me, they want to have visuals around. So I created this stage with a lot of different fabrics as screens, and then I filmed a couple of scenes in real life, and then I actualized it in TouchDesigner, and then we went on live performance. At the end, the performance left there. It was quite funny. All right, next. I wanted to share with you a little bit about my background. So I told you that I graduated from fine arts degree, and to get a fine art degree, you go to university, of course, in South Korea, and to get into university, you have to take an exam, and it's a bit surrealistic if you see it, but it's really happening. So you have to sit alone and among a lot of other people, and you draw exactly the same thing in a slightly different way, and that there's not much creativity involved. So it is such a crazy thing to get into the art school, but in the end, you are doing just following a very traditional way of expressing on paper. So this was very shocking to me at the beginning of my art school life. It was like, I think I was 18 or something. And then when I got into universities, they said, now you have to forget about everything you've done. And I was like, then why did I have to do that? But a lot of students were also confused because the value that they thought of about art completely changed after getting into university, and then it took some time to adjust it. So, and then I drew this. So this was one of my main practice in South Korea, 2009, so it's a long time ago. So this was one of the exams that you had to do. You had to do watercolor painting, and there's a very specific way of doing this. And then when you get to do mastering at these techniques, and you pass the exam. Now you can see a very naive version of me in front of printmaking, because I majored in printmaking, but it's very different from now, because now I am doing completely digital thing, but back then it was very, very analog. And then I moved to Australia, and I picked up asparagus like everyone does in Australia. I'm just introducing you what kind of life that I've been through, because it might look like, oh, it feels so magical if you look at these crazy visuals, but I actually went through a lot of different things. So I picked up asparagus in Australia for 88 days because I wanted to stay there a year longer, and then that was the deal with the Australian government. And then I also worked in a factory, 2016. So we worked in a refrigerator because we were dealing with milk and cheese. So we worked at 4 degrees Celsius, and then sometimes I had to go to the freezer, which was minus 16 degrees. So that's quite interesting. Then I came to the Netherlands and I studied at the Royal Academy of Art because I questioned myself. I wanna take back what I've learned, and I wanna know what art is, but I forgot for some time. And what does the design do? What does art do? So I studied here for bachelor again. This was one of the exhibitions we did at the school. So we had like a trip to Iceland, and then we designed some experiences in different flags. So it was quite different from what I did in South Korea because a lot of things were digital, and as you see, I had to work a lot on the poster making and different publication making, and then also different screen-based material design. And we also learned how to politically engage with these topics and these materials. What does it mean to use publication? What is the meaning of it? So that was quite valuable 4 years, I think. And I thought, I really like working with computer. And that's the first time that I realized, when I was already like 26, 7 years old or something. So it was quite late compared to other students who were like 20 years old. Then I started doing some experiments. So the left one is made with TouchDesigner, and it was projection mapping. So I took videos of my friend's eyes and I just put it in a real space, and then this projection mapping, so all these projections are in the right place. And then the right one was, you probably have seen it already as an advertisement of this workshop, which was a drawing with a blue crayon in digitally, because the computer knows that the blue is gonna stay on the screen. So it was also made in TouchDesigner. This sheet, probably you're wondering why I show this sheet, because as a woman, learning computer was such I don't know, it was not in my data, not in my system, that I can do well in computers. And then when you look at this TV show IT Crowd, it's my favorite TV show actually, very funny, British comedy. And in this show, as you see, the two guys are working in IT, so they are like computer guys. And then in the middle, there's a woman who is very good at communication, so she's doing project managing. So these images are very dominant in the tech industry. Then I thought, why are all these tech people portrayed in men? So I had this project called a collective booklet for Computational Women. So it was based on this one photograph that I found in the archive, that the computer was there, and it's the first computer in the Netherlands ever made. But next to it, there is a woman. So I thought, wow, this is so strange. Why is there a woman next to the computer? So turns out, actually, all the early programmers were women. So that was really shocking to me, because back then, when the first computer came out, like the programming was really not attractive job. So it was very mathematical. So you can imagine like how programming works. Like it's quite tedious sometimes. So it became women's territory, and then that's really struck me. Okay, it's very different from what we learn right now. That's how it is portrayed in media about this male-dominated tech industry. So as you see, there are a lot of women in front of a computer. They look badasses. And then this was a Google Sheet project that I asked people to write about their experiences about computer and their passion towards machinery things. So they put their own photos with the computer, and it was quite sweet. There were a lot of people submitted. And I see there is one person with different computers, and then there is her daughter in front of a computer. And then there are like developers also, or artists who use technology. Very cute. You're welcome to add your sheet, by the way. You can go to this link called tiny.cc/computational women. This is also one of the sheets. And then I recently introduced bitbird, Torvald, in the form of interviews. As you probably have seen it already, it's called volumetric interviews. And this was made with some people in my team at RGB Dog, and the filmmaker and also creative technologist who filmed this interview entirely in 3D. Also at the same time in the normal filmmaking. So we did also a lot of experiments. And you can see Torvald down there in the in the point cloud and with me, and then this is also made in TouchDesigner, so I will show you a little bit later how TouchDesigner works as well. So you can see this in your free time if you like. You can just search volumetric interviews and Torvald, then you can watch this. Okay, enough about me. So what is TouchDesigner then? So TouchDesigner, you can download it at the derivative.ca. That's the website. And it is made for real-time rendering. So real-time means that you don't have to like render it on Premiere or a video editing software, and then it's always different because it's real-time rendering all the time. And I got to learn this around like 2 years ago, and someone was using it, and I was like, wow, what is this? And this is node-based software. So node-based programming, what does it mean? As I said, it's going very basic, so if you are already advanced, sorry, this might be very boring. So node-based programming it means that you connect different nodes. So it's very logical, it's a programming, but it's very visual, so you don't have to write code most of the time. Sometimes for better use, you write the code for like Python, for example, but it's not very necessary. So you connect different lines to execute some logic that you want to execute. So if something happens, if I trigger this button, then this happens, and then this triggers that execution, and then in the end it goes like that or something like this. So it's very basic programming and visual programming. These days, I think very young students from South Korea or around the world, they already start visual programming, which is quite new, it can be quite new to my generation. So it's changing, I think. I don't know how it will influence the functioning, the brain functioning for our future generation. So node-based programming, the positive thing about node-based programming is because you don't have to learn coding, that the possibilities are limitless, that you can do a lot with it without much knowledge about it. I mean, it takes some time to learn at the beginning, but it's just very easy, easier than learning the new language for Python or C++ or any other languages that it really complicates my brain. So I also worked for Bitbird. It was for Holo Secret Sky. So it was during pandemic, and the world filmed some of Sun playing, DJing, and in the background you see the colored lights, and that was TouchDesigner. Okay, let's go. It is reacting to the audio that Sun was playing. So when there was like depending on the frequency, so I connected to the audio to just a very simple ramp with like a gradient, so it changes the color and also the amount of light showing. Candles were not fake, that was real. So I was there connecting the audio interface coming from Sun's music, and then it just went through the TouchDesigner, so it's just random, not random, immediately reacts. Okay. So today what I'm gonna do with TouchDesigner is just showing you what there is, like what it is, what does it mean to have to work with TouchDesigner. And recently I worked with TouchDesigner for a commission that I got for Meta, so Facebook. They asked me to create like 15 to 20 seconds of video, so I wanted to work with text and TouchDesigner, so I just started working with it, and then I created this. Then I will show you now. Let's see, let's do it again. So this was it. I will show you the skeletons of this file a little bit later, but this is what I made with TouchDesigner, with the different texts that I collected from people, with the question of what was the most liberating moment in your life. So in my case, it was when I assembled first computer when I was 14, and my dad and my brother was like, "You're a girl, how do you do this?" Or my dad was like scolding at my brother, "You are a boy and you are worse than woman," or something. It was as a joke, it was nothing very bad, but you know, that generation is always like, yeah, women shouldn't be better than men when it comes to technology. So that was a liberating moment in my life, that I was like, shit, I can do it. It made me feel like I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to do. So that was liberating. So I also asked people what was really liberating for them, and I got some result, and then I put it in TouchDesigner. Okay, this one can go. So before I show you a very basic TouchDesigner, I also want to show you one more thing. This was performance installation and performance design that I did for an artist composer called Soleil, and this was made in TouchDesigner. I will quickly show you the sketch as well. So this was presented at a music festival called Festival Dagen in de Branding. It's in The Hague, and then we filmed the video in the space.
What my ancestors have taught me, what their mothers have taught
see more clearly what I did with these faces. Because this piece was talking about her next generation and generation after. The piece was called as Mothers, so it was talking about mother and the daughters and then the next generations. So I decided to film her and then duplicate her as she sings over time. Finishes very intensely, like with these lights. So that was it. And I will show you the sketch. So don't worry if you got scared. I will start from scratch. So this was a sketch. There are a lot of things. They are all notes, different notes. And then as you see, if you go scroll, you can see I filmed her in different positions. She was sitting down. I filmed it in front of green screen, by the way. So I keyed out the green and then I exported it as a footage. And then I brought it here in TouchDesigner. So here there is also she's standing here. This one is this sitting chair. So there were different poses of her. And then what I did was I transformed. So I connected this video to transform. So I put her in a position that I want. And if I want to crop, then I crop this image with the crop node. And then I also put ramp, which is a gradient. And then composited. So this part is a bit grayed out, as you see, because this was composed with this tool. And then I make it into good resolution, unified resolution. And then there is more transform. And then I put only edges. So TouchDesigner recognized the edges only, and they created this pretty like pencil drawing like image. And then I create feedback, which means that you make this move from here to there and then scale up, but in between you save the frames, so it looks like it's creating these trails. And there were some luma level, and there are different things. And then in the end, you combine everything together. So I have named here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I create a switch that it's connected to my MIDI controller. So as she sings more and more, I turn her from 0 to 1 and 2. So 2 people are there, and then 3 people, 4 people, until the end. So I am putting these 5 different footages into one switch, and then I'm changing this index from 0 to 6, so I can lively manipulate this footage. So after it is all set, that I should remember which knob I should turn this to create these images. And then out, which means that you go to the folder on the top. So maybe it's a bit too complicated for some people already, but I can show you quickly in a different sketch, like quickly from scratch. So TouchDesigner is basically free until the resolution which is like 1280 by 768 or something. So it's not HD. So to get the HD export, you need to buy a license, which is like education license around $300, or professional license around $600. But before that, it's really nice to just use basic resolution, which is 1200, because then you can still export for Instagram, for example. You can still export to a smaller project, and then if you feel like it, if you think that you can go further, then you can buy the software. And there's a really supportive community that I would like to recommend. Online communities on Facebook, there's TouchDesigner community. It's always super nice to learn. So this is a main page that you will see if you download TouchDesigner. Then you will see this empty area. Then you will make a note here, and then you can see the palette over there, and then file, edit, dialogues, help. You don't really use this much unless you want to save or you export movie. So you can see also in the bottom that you can see frame per second. So now it's set up as 60, and that's default. And then if you want to make more than 10 seconds video, you can change these numbers to whatever you want, because then it is frame per second to 60 frames per second, so it's 10 seconds now. So you can change that. So you see in the left there's a palette, as I told you, and I see a lot like image filters. They are all templates that TouchDesigner provides, so you don't need to use this, but sometimes you want to explore what other people made. You can always use this. So there are different types. There are pixelate, and you can see they are pixelated. Sharpen, the images is sharpened, and there are lots of different options. That a bloom looks like it's glowing. It's really fun to use. So here, if you double click, then you can see the dialogue. Then there are multiple things that you can choose. What are they? So comp means composition. So there are all sort of different composition elements here that you call the operator, composition operator, geometry, or if you want to put a table, you can put it there. If you want to, the thing that I use a lot is container. Container means like a folder. So as you have in the computer, there are different folders that you drop different things inside to tidy up. You can do it in TouchDesigner too with container. And then top here, it's a purple. It says texture operator. So this is all about movies, images, and like different image materials. So you can see if you bring the movie, then it's always top texture operator. The movie file in is here, that you can bring your own movie, and then you can edit it with different nodes connected, which can be crop that I showed you very earlier today. You can crop the image here. You can also displace. You can do edges. So the difference between editing softwares like After Effects. So why do you not do cropping in After Effects, for example? Because in After Effects you have to render out the whole thing to show it to public. So you can't just show just After Effects sketch. In TouchDesigner you can just crop real time. So if you want to crop like 90%, you can just 90%, or you can make an animation even like from 0% to 100%, so it's completely cropped, and maybe it goes back to 0. So there are different things that you can try for real time. And then chop is a channel operator, so it deals with numbers, it deals with frequencies. If you use audio, if you want to connect the audio to your visuals, then you always go here. There's like, you can just drag and drop your audio file, or you can connect to your audio interface and then get audio signal from somewhere. And then you can directly modify it in the channel operator. So SOP is Surface operator, yeah. So this deals with 3D. So you can do 3D too. You can make a 3D object, or you place it in a completely different, like so many 3D objects copied and pasted. That's called instancing. You can do it in so. And material means that you can use the material for sub operator. So often you combine the sub operator and a material operator. And finally, data operator. Data operator means that you can get the data from anywhere. It can be a text file, it can be live chat messages from Twitch, for example. You can do it with Python. You can write Python script a little bit, and then you can get live chat, and then you can use the visual for, I don't know, your Twitch stream or something. And then custom, I have nothing, but you can also add custom operators. So if you double click, then you can create something. Let's create maybe movie file in, because that's very easy. So as you see, you can see the banana. Banana is like very infamous default image for TouchDesigner. And let's maybe move this banana. Let's do transform. So create the different nodes. You can either create, you can either double click on this page, and then you can say can click transform, and then now it shows X because I didn't connect to anything. So it says not enough sources specified. Then you can drag from this side. There's in the middle button, you just click, drag, and then you connect to the node that you want to connect. Then you can connect to two different nodes. And then, for example, you see you can do rotation. So now you see the numbers are changing and that the image are rotating. I want to make it maybe like this, 187 to rotate it, but then maybe I want to constantly rotate. Then you put a little Python script that you just use for so many times, so you just memorize in your head. Apps time dot seconds multiplied by 10, for example. So every second it multiplies by 10. Then it is moving. So this is how TouchDesigner works. So it's very basic right now. So I will show you my meta commission sketch and then walk you through it. Is there any questions so far? I'm looking at the chat now. No. So in TouchDesigner you can choose your layout. This is like divided two different screens. And now I can click this one in the left corner. There's a pane layout. You can choose to show one. So now I'm showing one. I got a question. Maybe I can answer. How was it trying to find work in this field? I think at this moment I don't try to find work. Just work comes to me. But then before, I had to work a lot for free. So, but then it was all passion projects. So like a lot of people that I know around, they were doing music, and they were asking me, "Hi, Soyun, I heard that you're doing visuals. Can you do it for me or something?" And then of course they don't have money, so I just did it for free, like so many times. So there was like a concert in the conservatorium at school. or they were like club music, and then I did the visuals with TouchDesigner. And then after a year or two of doing that with really cheap labor price, and I just started to get a lot of different jobs. And then now at the moment, the jobs come to me. I think it's just it's hard to kick off, maybe hard to find a good collaborator to work with. And then when you find a good collaborator, which means that very passionate and nice to work with, and it's complementary to your work, then do it without thinking of money. Then I recommend to do it. Then it really definitely pays off. Like, you just start to get a lot of work after that, because people find your work really nice because you work with passion. That's my little advice. If you like to get into this field of making visuals for musicians or for your own, or art in general, I think just have a lot of experiences in different places, theater or club or performance place, church or anywhere. It's so nice to gain experiences because later it really pays off. So this is the main screen. I think I'm running out of time, but I'm talking too much maybe. So I will show you quickly how I structured this file. So because Meta asked me to create different dimensions, so I created like 1920 by 1080, which is HD, and then 1250 by 1250, 1200 by 1500. I created all of this to just automate the process. So if I change with the switch, then it automatically changes the dimension of it. So this can be also automated, which is really cool, and it saves you a lot of time. Did you take any sort of courses in university or school to learn this as a hobby? I studied fine arts and graphic design. I didn't learn this real-time audio visuals. I think I just started with my passion, but I had the basic, of course, with knowledge of what art is and how to conceptualize your project. I hope it answered. So I will show you the first HD dimension. So it's like 1920 by 1080. As you see a lot of these pink things. They are all text. And then I just dragged and drop this text. And then it goes to switch, which are chosen randomly by this math. So this is basically just the program itself, that it creates just non-stoppable visuals. Every time it is different, every time it chooses different text. I wanted this because I was thinking as an installation, not as like just film, because then you have to, if you're gonna make film and then it's gonna make an installation for like a day or something, then for 8 hours it's gonna just run. So I can't render for 8 hours. That's not really sufficient. So I just decided to create this in real time with TouchDesigner. So to just let you know how this works, I made 2 different timers. So I wanted to make a system that the first it shows text for 10 seconds, and then it changed to the next text, but before it creates these crazy visuals. So that was what I wanted to make a system. So first 10 seconds, and then it stops for 3 seconds and it goes crazy, and then it goes back to 10 seconds, randomly shows one of the texts that I put in. Within programming, you have to write everything, but then in TouchDesigner it's relatively easy. It took me some time to figure out, but now the timer is ticking until 10, and then when the timer is done, then it goes to done pulse. and then it goes done. And when done pulse is on, then it triggers the next one, which is this, it's called text change crazy. I made a name like that. So it goes 3 seconds crazy, and then it goes back. So it's like a loop situation. That's why it shows this message, cook dependency loop detected. I think this is not the best way, but it works. So I decided to do it. And then I put in the noise, which shows the different numbers, it changes. So for 10 seconds it goes crazy, and then that crazy numbers goes to this index. So it is like a little programming here. And then later it changes the text, and then in the text it also has a ramp, which is a gradient. And then the text ready means that it is storing all this data while it's changing. So it's like animation, but it changes every frame. So I can create sort of like, you will see here, feedback type of thing. And then if you see only this text, it's very boring. So it looks like this on the left. So I decided to combine with background, which is this. This is instancing, so I made a 3D object that is going around and around with the same text that I have here. So I just connect it with the render, and then it just creates the cubes around it. And then here there is also noise that I made it to be pixelized, and then the pixelized goes to the edge, like the drawing that I showed you just earlier with the humans and then edges. So this one just calculates only edges, so it shows only the white, very simplified. And then I combined with this all three. So it's a very simple logic, but I think it works. And this is how I work. And also there is this constant, it's a channel operator that I made 1920 by 1080 as a setup numbers here. So every time I create something, that the resolution is 1920 by 1080. So this number is going everywhere here. This going is exporting to here, exporting to there, exporting to everywhere. So everything is the same. It might be very difficult for people who don't know TouchDesigner, or it might be very easy for people who know TouchDesigner already, but I hope it helped you to understand how I work and how can be done when you make like a simple programming like this, like, okay, 10 seconds just stays in one text, 5 seconds goes crazy, and then go back to 10 seconds. It's like a timer in your home, like sometimes you have it for the light setup that you have for your plants, for example. Okay, 10 hours it goes on, and then it stops for another 10 hours, and it goes on again. So this is the same as that. Okay. So that was my presentation, and I hope it was helpful to understand how it works. And right now, if you're new to this field, then it might be really confusing. Oh, what do I do with this? But then you can just search TouchDesigner on YouTube. You can start from like very beginning. I just wanted to show you how I work with the sketches, and how just visual artists can also program without the knowledge. But you have to have certain logical thinking. Okay, put X and then Y, and then you combine with X and Y, becomes X and Y. So it's a really simple logic as that. And then if you develop that part of your brain, I think it's also really interesting how you function in normal life. Yeah, you will become maybe Vulcan, like from Star Trek. It's too nerdy. Um, like really androids become humans. But yeah, so this is how I work, and I want to introduce you, and I want to let you know this is also possible. I hope it was helpful for some people. I'm just getting questions. Let's see. In exhibition, do you have to leave a computer on with the TouchDesigner for real time? Yes, that's a bit annoying. But normally you can rent a computer too. If you have enough graphics card, then you can just rent it. But TouchDesigner license has to be on it. So in this sort of setup, I think you better have at least educational license, because if you're going to do exhibition, then it means that the resolution should be as high as you want. So probably the free one is too little, 1250. Yeah, I think it's a bit little. So you just turn it on, I think. I think we will do create together event live stream visuals in TouchDesigner this year. Yeah, I think it's a really good idea. It's really user friendly, and the community is very wholesome. If you ask questions, they're very much willing to share the knowledge with you, and it's very easy to start. There are a lot of resources online, so you can always just tweak it. I also started like that. At first, I felt like, why is this so difficult? Like when I did nothing about node-based programming. But then over time, looking at other people doing and just following tutorials, sometimes I just follow tutorials with no reason. And then while you're following tutorials, you just, oh, this is interesting. If you connect this node and this node, this happens. Then just start to creatively stimulate, I think. Any tips to get started easily with TouchDesigner? Is the audio to color switching visuals a good starting point? Yes. And you can just search audio reactive TouchDesigner on YouTube, and you can find really good tutorials that a lot of people made. So you can just bring directly the audio file if you have, or if you want to work real time with the instruments that you're playing, and then you just get audio jack into the audio interface, and then from audio interface you put it into computer, and then in TouchDesigner you can analyze the frequencies. So you want to get rid of, or you want to use the bass in the music, then you get rid of all the higher frequencies, only leave only the bass frequency, and then it connects to the visuals that you want to connect. Maybe like, okay, that is here, and then if bass is doom, then it goes up. Then it's very easy, just this one, the dot, and then connect to transform, and then transform is connected to the frequency that you are getting signal from audio interface. So you can find it easily on YouTube, so I hope it's helpful. Is there any questions? No, I don't think so. I hope it was good, helpful for you, and if you have any questions, you can always shoot me DMs. And I hope you enjoy creating. Thank you so much, bitbird, for inviting me here. bitbird community always has been inspiration for me, working with so many creatives and encouraging creativity. So I hope I can see you again next time, and I hope you all a very nice evening or morning or afternoon. Okay, thank you.